You open your banking app on a Tuesday night. The numbers look fine. Not great, not bad, just fine. And that's the problem. You're 34, maybe 37, maybe 40. You've been working hard for over a decade. But something in your gut keeps whispering, you should be further along by now. You close the app, you don't want to look anymore. That feeling has a name. Most men in their 30s don't lose their decade to a crash, a layoff, or one big bad bet. They lose it to something quieter, something almost invisible. They lose it to drift. Slow, comfortable, well-dressed drift. The kind that doesn't feel like a mistake until it's already cost you 10 years. Let me show you what that actually looks like, because I promise you, you've already met it. You got your first real paycheck somewhere in your mid-20s. It felt enormous. You finally weren't broke. Then the raises came. A little more each year. A promotion here, a job change there. The number on your check kept climbing. And quietly, almost politely, your life climbed with it. A nicer apartment, a nicer car, better restaurants on Friday nights. Nothing reckless, nothing crazy, just slightly better, always slightly better than last year. That's the trap. It doesn't look like a trap because it looks like progress. It looks like the thing you're supposed to do. But here's what's actually happening underneath. Every raise you got, your lifestyle quietly absorbed about 90% of it, sometimes more. So your income doubled in 10 years, but your savings rate barely moved. You feel richer, but your net worth tells a different story entirely. This is the quiet mistake. Not gambling, not crypto, not a divorce, just lifestyle creeping up at exactly the speed of your raises. And by the time you notice, you are in your late 30s, earning 2 or 3 times what you earned at 25 and still living paycheck to paycheck in a more expensive way. You feel it most on a slow Sunday afternoon. The house is quiet. You sit down with a coffee and actually look at the spreadsheet. You see the income, you see the years, you do the rough math in your head, and the number that should be there isn't. There's a specific kind of silence that follows that moment. A man knows it when he feels it. It's not panic, it's something heavier. It's the realization that you traded a decade of compounding for a slightly nicer version of the same life you already had. Now, before you spiral, I want you to hear something carefully. This isn't about shame. This is about pattern recognition. And once you see the pattern, you can step out of it. Because the men who actually build wealth in their 30s aren't earning twice what you earn. Most of them aren't. They just made one different choice, over and over, quietly. They locked their lifestyle at one level and let their income keep climbing past it. The gap between those two lines is where wealth actually lives. You, on the other hand, kept the two lines moving together. Income up, lifestyle up. Income up, lifestyle up. Forever in parallel. Forever in the same place. Here's the cruel part of your 30s. This is the decade where compounding finally starts to mean something real, not in theory, in dollars. A dollar saved at 32 has roughly 4 decades to grow before you might actually need it. A dollar saved at 42 has 3. That 1 decade of difference can double the outcome. So when your lifestyle eats your raises in your 30s, you're not just losing the raise, you're losing what that raise could have become. The average man in his mid-40s looking at his retirement account is often staring at a number somewhere between 60 and 120,000, sometimes less. Almost never enough. He's not lazy. He's not stupid. He worked hard the whole time. He just never realized that hard work and saved money are 2 completely different things. And here's the part nobody talks about. The 30s are also when the comparison engine gets loudest in a man's head. Your college friend buys a house in a neighborhood you can't afford. Another one starts a business and posts photos from Lisbon. A guy you barely remember from high school just sold a company. You scroll past it on your phone at 10 at night, lying in bed, and something tightens in your chest. You don't admit it out loud, but it's there. That tightness is dangerous, because the most expensive financial decisions men make in their 30s are almost always emotional reactions to that tightness. The car you bought to feel okay again. The watch. The vacation you put on a card. The investment you jumped into because someone you envy was already in it. None of those things are mistakes by themselves. The mistake is the motive underneath them. You weren't buying the thing. You were buying relief from a feeling. And the financial industry knows this about you. The entire system is engineered around the moment a 30-something man feels behind and reaches for his wallet to fix it. Pause with me for a second. I want to ask you something honestly. Where are you right now in this picture? Are you still in the climb, where every raise still feels like progress? Or are you in the quiet realization phase, where the numbers stopped adding up the way you assumed they would? Drop a number in the comments, just your age, and one word for what you feel when you check your accounts. Calm, anxious, numb, hopeful, behind. Whatever it actually is. Someone else watching this video is going to read your comment and feel less alone. That's the entire reason this channel exists. Men don't talk about money with other men, so we end up thinking we're the only one feeling it. You're not the only one. You're just the only one in your specific story. The feeling is almost universal. Okay, back to it, because there's a deeper layer here most people miss. The quiet mistake of your 30s isn't really about money. Money is just the scoreboard. The real mistake is something more internal, more structural. The real mistake is letting your identity get tangled up with your spending. You become the guy who drives a certain car, the guy who lives in a certain zip code, the guy who picks up the check. And once your identity is built on the spending, cutting it back doesn't feel like financial wisdom. It feels like losing who you are. That's why men can't downsize, even when the math is screaming at them. This is the difference between a healthy money life and a trapped one. A healthy 30-something man spends in a way that supports his life. A trapped one spends in a way that performs his life to others. You can usually tell which one you are with. A simple test. Imagine nobody you knew could see any of your purchases for one full year. Which expenses would suddenly feel pointless? Whatever answer comes up first, that's where the leak is. That's where your decade is quietly bleeding out, dollar by polished dollar. Now here's the advanced nuance almost nobody talks about. It's not just lifestyle inflation. It's something subtler. I call it lifestyle anchoring. Every time you upgrade something, your brain quietly resets that upgrade as the new baseline, the new normal, and going back below it starts to feel like failure, even when it would be totally fine. So a man who once felt rich at $60,000 a year now feels stretched at 140. Same human, same needs, different anchor. That anchor is the real enemy. You don't beat lifestyle inflation by budgeting harder. You beat it by refusing to let the anchor move every time your income does. The income moves, the anchor stays. That's the whole game. The men who get this right in their 30s tend to share a strange habit. When they get a raise, they don't celebrate by spending more. They celebrate by saving more. They redirect the new money before it ever touches their lifestyle. A 10% raise becomes a 10% bump in their retirement contribution. A bonus becomes a brokerage deposit before the dopamine wears off. The money never gets a chance to feel like theirs. This sounds simple, almost boring. That's because it is. Wealth, at this stage of life, is built by boring decisions repeated for 10,000 quiet days. The flashy stuff, the side hustles, the trades, the speculation, those are noise. The signal is whether the gap between what you earn and what you live on is widening every single year or staying flat. If that gap is widening, you're winning your 30s, even if it doesn't feel like it. If that gap is flat or shrinking, you're losing them, even if your lifestyle looks better than ever. Now think about what this looks like 10 years from now, because this is where it gets serious. Picture yourself at 45, same career trajectory, same spending pattern, same emotional reactions to seeing other people's wins online. What does the account look like? What does the conversation with your partner sound like? What does the feeling in your chest feel like on that slow Sunday afternoon? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort right now is the cheapest currency you'll ever pay. Discomfort at 45 costs years you don't get back. But there's also good news, and I want you to actually hear this part. Your 30s are not over. Even if you're 38, 39, you still have a runway most people would trade everything for. A man who starts saving aggressively at 36, with 25 to 30 good earning years ahead of him, can still build a real retirement. Not a fantasy one, a real, dignified sleep-at-night one. A real, dignified sleep-at-night one. The men who blow past you financially aren't smarter than you. They aren't luckier than you. They just stop letting their income own them about 5 years earlier than you did. You can start today, not tomorrow. Not after the next raise. Not when things calm down at work. Things never calm down at work. Today? The first move is almost embarrassingly small. You look at your last 3 months of spending and you find the one category that grew the most when you weren't paying attention. That category is the symptom. You don't have to eliminate it. You just have to freeze it. Hold it exactly where it is for the next 12 months while your income keeps climbing. That single act, repeated quietly for a year, is more powerful than any investment strategy you'll read about online, because it changes the trajectory of the gap. It widens it. And the gap is everything. After that, you start automating. Money that you never see, never touch, never decide about, ends up doing the actual work of building your future. Decisions made once are stronger than decisions made daily. Your future self isn't built by willpower. He's built by systems your present self set up and then walked away from. And slowly, over a year, 2 years, 5 years, the man you see in the mirror starts to feel different. Not richer in a flashy way, steadier, less reactive to other people's highlight reels. That steadiness is the real prize of doing this work. The money is just the byproduct. The man you become along the way is the actual return on investment. So if this video named something you've been feeling but couldn't quite say out loud, do me a favor and hit the like button. It's a small thing, but it tells the algorithm to put this in front of another man who needs to hear it tonight. If you want more of these conversations, the quiet ones, the ones nobody else is having with you, subscribe and turn the bell on. We post every week, and the next one builds directly on this one. Down in the comments, tell me which part of this hit hardest. Was it the lifestyle anchor idea, the Sunday afternoon moment, the gap between income and lifestyle? I read them, I learn from them, they shape what I make next. And honestly, thank you for sitting through a video that asked something hard of you. Most men click away the second a video stops flattering them. You stayed. That tells me something about who you are and where you're trying to go. The work you're doing right now, the quiet inner work on how you relate to your money, is the work that changes everything else downstream. Your relationships, your sleep, your sense of being a man who has his own back. In the next video, we go one layer deeper. We talk about what happens to a man's marriage when he hits 40 and realizes the money story he's been telling himself doesn't match the numbers. It's a hard one. It's an honest one. Until then, take one breath, take one small action tonight, and remember, the quiet decade you're living right now is still yours to direct. The story isn't written. You're holding the pen.